All right, welcome back to this very special edition of Dr. J Radio Live. Today we are interviewing what I always say is some of the best stories, some of the best people that come to interview are the people literally listening to this show on the other end. And that is how I found the story of what we're going to talk about today. The person's username is Starseed, and there's a whole reason why she uses the name Starseed. We also have Rockstar joining us here to sort of guide me through since he's had more, I guess, knowledge about her story. So, with that being said, let me introduce the two. First, let me introduce Rockstar, my guest co host for the evening.
Right on. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
That's great.
Rockstar, you ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it, man. I've been waiting for this. Yeah, cool.
Rockstar, how are you? Or
Good, man.
sorry about that. Meant to say Starseed this time. How are you, Starseed? How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
We're all actually in the heat, so that's one thing else too, I guess, to look forward to look inside. So let me go back. Let me go back before you even were labeled Starseed. Before you were even born, how did you even become a Starseed?
Well, first of all, I was like ancient souls long ago, had many past lives, and it's recorded what we knew what we are before we were born, and understanding each life we go through. That's how I ended up to be. Like now, this is like probably my sixth time I'm reincarnated. My connections once like Atlantis and the Mayans, and now I'm in this we'll call it civilization different beyond others. I went through. It's like a little more knowledge. Like I go through the experiences left and right, and part of the growth, and through the agreements contract I have to be born, like who I choose the parents to be, my lessons. It's part of the growth. And
Let's go to your being here in this reality, in this timeline, this lifespan. Who are your parents? I mean, is are they non-terrestrial?
once I have like the host like parents that brought me here and physically,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have other parents that are maybe not on Earth, more like guide points for me while I'm here.
And where does your parents that are not from here, is that your paternal side?
Yes.
Where does your father come from?
My father in Syrian, he's in Tarka, is really like not people couldn't say it in English couldn't form because most of our language is really ancient within the light. Most of us speak in certain symbols and remote symbols, and we do a certain vibration of our talk. And my mother's side in the human way, uh, she's pretty much went through a certain life and changes in her life and how to deal with human family. Like I learned from experience and growth, and to understand what was going on for today for many years. Not like it was in Atlantis in the Mayan time, where man, changed throughout the certain history. So it's a big kind of change for me to grow. It's not going to look at way back and I'm like, okay, a long time ago. It's not like it was when I came around. It's like a lot different. Pretty much a shocker for me. I had to really learn and grow in experience.
When did you realize that you were half of you was not of this earth?
I was very little, unfortunately. When I first started in my life, I found out my mom, gave birth to me, and fortunately, the worst experience I found out more as awakening life experience, near death one. I was dead for a while, and it took a while for people to get me, back to life, and found out my brother told me, he's like, hey, do you know that the cord wrapped around your neck and when you were born and you were dead for a while? And I told him, like, yeah, I knew about that. That was not a spice waking up experience moment I have first coming into the world. Not a fun one either, I told him.
Yeah, clearly, obviously, I could imagine having, being choked by your cord and remembering that. I know every single one of us remembers everything we've ever seen, heard, or felt, tasted, etc., because it's embedded in our subconscious. But to be able to tap into it on the regular is an amazing thing. Now, beyond that, at what point did you start getting visitations?
Yes, my certain ones family lesson down to teach me. And when I was very little, I saw one of my family members is not very much like a human, like appears it partially, and it says, "Well, you're a special child. You got a lot to learn to grow and experiences." And I usually seen him most of the time watch over me throughout my ages of my life. And fortunately, they did speak to my mother then and told her what I am. She has some experience. Well, she kind of kept it like hidden because it's not easy for her to deal with certain spirits and certain beings. Unfortunately, kind of shook her up a little bit because she's more partially Native American, so it's a lot more adjustments for her than in there.
Now,
And
keep going.
so it's just like took a while for her to be just a little bit. It's like it takes her like that because she has other kids, so it's a lot more difficult with me, the two other kids that she has, and the difference. And she didn't have the same experience like her boys than me.
Yeah. What I talked to Starseed about was she says that her mother was abducted, right? Um, and I guess her other siblings aren't the same as her. Uh, how does that work? I mean, do your other siblings treat you differently because because your mother was abducted?
Well, a lot of times they do. Like they're like normal like kids, and at that time, and normal people how they react in there. And sometimes we treat each other like very loving and caring. And at times they have their quirks and ways, and it's like brothers and sisters. And it's not like a new thing for me because it's I had to put up with that other beings like in our school had to go somewhere like that with other beings, like have their ways and talk and certain spirits. Some of them are more certain ways than others. Depends on what knowledge and they carry out and how they choose and react by certain individuals.
Now, let me ask you, compared to your brothers, do you physically look different? And I'm not talking anatomically, I mean as far as skin color, hair color, eye color, etc.
No, we look more alike, close a bit. Fortunately, like me and my brothers have a little bit different kind of bloodlines, a little difference. Because my mom, one time she was like a negative O, and fortunately she had 4 transfusions when she was a baby, when they had to change their blood when she was born. So it's like right now it's like kind of a weird kind of shift and it changes. And she says like most of us are like close to our dads one point, so it's like a little bit different with my mom on that one. We do look like the same, like with other simulations, but the difference is my brothers realize I'm more sensitive and some kind of environments and things, and I don't have like full like health they were because my physical systems work different. And to them, regards my genetics is like I'm missing one part of the coding in my liver. Onwards, my body doesn't function clearly normal like other people would, unfortunately.
Now, is that ever corrected? Meaning,
No, it cannot
are they
be.
ever take? Do they ever, because there's lots of stories of UFOs healing people or even their own.
Yes, I worked on a lot of it like that, time in the air, and fortunately, the ships didn't quite a lot. And then in there, I've been in the medical thing. They did work on me a few times when I got really sick, and then it's just that genetic mutation in my DNA factor. I had to work on a certain kind of coding to get it just function right while I'm like here.
Yeah, I wanted to ask too. Are you RH negative?
People like try to ask me about that. I haven't put myself into that. I'm more probably like positive due to like my mom a little bit of blood transfusion.
So you're saying you're not. You don't think you are.
No,
Now,
no, my grandmom is negative RH, and my mom was like that. Her body did not um, function well after my mom was born. Unfortunately, that the blood almost killed her, so they changed it. So I might have sliver, but not really quite. Afterwards, when the medical procedure changes the blood, and when you add the new blood, fortunately, it changes the like, some of the chemistry and everything else.
now, can you? Do they speak through telepathy where your father comes from, or I mean, how do they converse with each other?
We do speak in telepathically and normally, like how we are talking in the air. Most of us do that. Other times, we are just basically do things a certain ways so that make it a lot easier, like do it totally with other people. And other times we speak English like that in a certain way in a different language, and most people don't understand that it's really ancient. It's not well on Earth in the documents were only left in certain parts in certain tablets long ago in the ancestries when my ancestors and other types of ancestors did come to Earth and did a few things long ago.
Can you speak any of your native language?
I do speak most of it in there, especially my roommates caught me a few times and I speak it towards some of my animals when they do something bad.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Give her something, a phrase, because it's interesting. I talked to her about this before. Um, she's, she has speaking to me in this alien language. I'd like to hear it live if we can. Go ahead,
absolutely,
Doctor J.
please.
Right,
Yes. Can
give her
you
something to say.
say
I want to hear.
contact has begun?
欢迎晚上啊
Wow. Now, what is your mother's background?
Well, my mother's like background is very different. She's very secretive, and she's certain ways she does see certain spirits, and she usually talks to
She's
me,
not
and I
she doesn't speak two or three languages. She doesn't come from
no
Europe or anything like that. She doesn't have okay.
no.
Wow. Cuz
She speaks mostly English, and like most of her found out that most of the New Jersey family came from Delaware, and I heard a lot of stories when I was visiting after I did with the family issues and put my mom final the knowledge for a burial. So it's like a lot information where like a lot her roots were, and no, she didn't have other languages she spoke in. It's mostly English most of her life.
Now, how do you say starseed in your local language, in your alien language?
Jacques.
Wow. I'm trying to compare it to the known ancient languages. I don't hear it sounding like ancient Greek. This doesn't sound like ancient Chinese or anything like that. This really
Yeah,
kind of puts it, maybe ancient Aramaic before that.
yeah.
Most of
I think we need a bigger phrase, um, other than just like one word. Uh, Maybe say something, with a longer sentence, just so we can get a feel of, where that is, because I don't recognize any of that either. But you were Greek, so you would know that, right?
Yes. especially if even if it's ancient Greek. I would. So just say, uh, let's see. I mean, it's hard for me to just. Okay, let's say. Uh, Earth's population is on the rise, and we need to do something about it.
蚂蚁那个是传出本地。
Wow. Yeah, honestly, that I don't even know if that's sounds like Hebrew. Oh, I gotta say it's definitely unique. That's definitely unique.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely different. Where it'd be cool to try to analyze what you just said with somebody who knows something about
Linguist, yeah,
language, right?
a
It'd be cool to get somebody on here, that could actually, see if they knew what that means.
Yeah, a linguist. The linguist would be great to try to get that in. Now, when was the last time you have had contact?
I have been like contact many times, like been in there. So it's not the very last time. My family usually come and see how I'm doing, visit, and once in a while. Sometimes I do like take care of a few stuff for them, like kind of schooling, teaching some of my kids how to move objects and stuff. And mostly I usually do partially in the medical kind of field, then and there.
Now, have you visited there recently, or I mean, what's the world like there?
It's not different than Earth. It's more like tropical Erica and more as a more water base. It's like the days are a little bit longer than Earth's, and nights are like more as close as equal, but not as much. But we only have like two suns. Like we have in our nice sky, and Earth only has like one, and we don't have very much any moon like that. Like Earth would have like close by. It's a different, smaller solar system than Earth's like version. It's like really ancient stuff there. Most of the time, we have like cities in the water or in the land. And some of us usually live in the bigger crafts, long travels to other places, and long ago, a lot of other beings, including my ancestors, did intermix it with ones along in there, and also live in other parts of other planetary systems they choose for their growth and experience.
How long has that alien race been visiting Earth?
Very long time. Since the beginnings way back then, where the people are like written in cave arts and on the go in a different part of the history.
So 10, 20,000 years in that range or less?
There's more than that. Earth is not young like where people put it as. This Earth is really old, and it's really like centuries we're talking about.
Now, do you have any special abilities?
I do like a few. I used to move objects in and there. Sometimes I just change phrases how people do think, and I used to do like few things like energy work, like healing hands ability. That my grandmom's friend found out because like he talking to me, and I kind of shot on her at times. It's like I don't like anyone to know I'm capable of this because I don't want a lot of people crowding around me or anything. I was trying to like get them to understand I'm not something like special. I'm just like anybody else. One point and another.
That's a great question because I had talked to her before, and she says that she can actually shapeshift. And it'd be cool, like if we could see that happen. For me, it's all about proof. It's all about proof. I mean, everybody can say what they want, but it'd be cool. Go ahead, Starseed. Can you shapeshift?
I do it then and there. A few times I did that to my mom. Fortunately, when I was about 20, I come down the stairs.
Yourself, or you shifted her?
No, I shifted. No, I shifted to like my middle brother. And then she was talking to me, calling me like his name, and like long talks. And after I walked away, and I say like to my brother like how's it going? I wrote that, and I was like, hey, do you realize our mom basically fought on you?
I'd love to see this on video. I'd love to see you, as you shapeshift, not as the finished result, but the process from beginning to end.
Yeah, right. That'd be like some great proof. I mean, right there, if we could see that, part of the hearing her talking that alien language. I think if we do some more research, maybe we could figure it out.
I usually do shifting in there, like once in a while. Like last time, like 2 years ago, I did that. I was talking to my grandma. My mom came in and she's like, she freaked out a little bit. And I saw her friends. So I'm like, okay. I had to like shift myself back. I'm like, and I told her, like, what's wrong? And she said, I thought someone else was like there. I'm like, are you sure? My grandma kind of gave me a look. It's like, come on, you know better. Yeah, doing something like that. And at one point in another, it's like through the experiences in there. My brother one time like had to send him with my dad because my mother like divorced, separated out, so we had to hang on my dad's birthday. Concerning the family, my mom doesn't want to be there because the girl he hangs with. So my brothers like to joke with me and in there, stuff. So I'm just sitting there. I told my brother, hey, knock it off. That's not cool. So basically, I just like kind of smirk and let him just keep on talking. I put a couple words in his head, and then I'm just gonna see if he's gonna fall for it. And he just let it all. He calmed himself a certain way, and he blushes so bad. And I told him, I was like, wow. I didn't know you thought that about yourself. I told him in certain ways, and he got mad at me. And I looked, I was like, hey, I'm trying to be nice, but you didn't. And I knew you, like, have a bigger mouth, bro. Like, still like that. Like, I fucking not gonna think clearly in what I put in there.
Starseed, Alexander James Broski is asking here, what alien race are you from?
I have like about four genetically, like partially human, Siren, and Orion, and also Andromen.
Now, is there any message what's the reason you're here on Earth? I mean, some people say it's a prison planet, other people are being communicated because we're at the tipping point or we're about to reach that point where we are at finally break the key what the Bob Lazar was working on, and what Nassim Harriman was talking on the other day, the missing pie for humanity of technology is how can we create gravity? And I'm wondering, is there a message that you can give us, or is there something you can tell the physicists of how to do that?
Yeah, there is. There's certain technology we left here and we given mankind most of the stuff, and so they could grow and experience different things, make things a lot easier than what they're doing now. And fortunately now, it's just that we're trying to get people like, hey, just like for energy and stuff we use, not to affect like where we're living at that point. In other words, because we experienced at one point as a growth the things what we did, and we're trying to show the other civilizations that hey, this is like natural like that. So like the planetary live a lot longer, no environment effects. In other words, and fortunately. We're looking like one part of my contract, my agreement. I had to learn experiences with people and understand them more clearly. And also like help me part of my growth. Also like doing my guardian work when I usually do with certain situations and spend out my skills and certain stuff so I can help others and like share, help them like grow like that part. So they could basically share with those, so make it a lot easier, make things a lot more livable in a better environment. In other words, and we're trying to teach people this situation. Like right now, the nuclear devices is not good because it affects DNA level, destroys it. In a certain part, we're going for a different energy pattern that only keeps things balanced. Fortunately, a lot of energy stuff we have certain way to contain. We have to be careful how we use it. But unfortunately, the government does have a lot of technology, a certain way they keep it for themselves, and we all know that pretty much in certain experiments they've been doing involving our certain technology, how they are reversing it.
Rockstar, go
Yeah, hey,
ahead.
start. Oh no, I was going to get on the subject of. Do you think you have implants? Do you think that you're implanted from the several times that you've been abducted? Or
I've been like twice. One is like deep in my hip. I don't want to deep in my skull, and I felt that was like government related. Because half of my like human family were linked with the military in different certain branches. Stuff they do. They don't talk a whole lot of the stuff they do, and certain parts of them were in the Masonic Lodge.
so you think
And
that
so
the government is fully aware of the kind of projects that are going on with, with 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 people like you, right?
yes, they've been doing with us like for a long period of time, way back then, and putting up a lot of us, and also they did created their own like certain hybrids, intermixing like certain animals with man, or like taking part of certain genetics from us and make it with man.
Have you
We
ever
know.
come across Men in Black or any of those government agents? Have they ever talked to you or shown that they are possibly following you or paying attention to what you're doing?
I got few like close, but I avoided them a lot because I use my energy to make myself like not want to see me. It's like a mirroring effect. I get away, and fortunately, I did that a few times in my work. Couple coworkers keep hitting on me. I just don't appreciate them doing that because there's certain like hormones like that they release. It kind of makes me sick to my stomach, and I'm trying to like be nice to them, and some of them don't get it. So I used to like focus my energy like a mirroring effect. Like I could see what's going on, but I shifted like I'm not really there. It's our dimensional way I put it. As since like they afterwards they haven't seen me for a week, and a lot of people know I'm working there, and they probably said, "Where you gone? You left for vacation?" I said, "No, I'm been around, but I just don't like to be bothered."
You
I
know,
told them.
this actually reminds me of the first movie, Men in Black. You remember when they used that little device, that memory device, where the flashy thing they Will Smith calls it?
Yeah, this certain technology does manipulate man and vibrations, certain frequencies and some stuff I noticed about it. It's been used to. I thought that the government got very close to me, keeping an eye on me in a sense, because sadly, thing I found a lot was going on, and one of the things they did, they linked me with AI system, and this is one of the things I did not appreciate them doing, and especially when I was asleep after my studies and my small nap. I end up at my grandmother's house, and I know it was nighttime, and I see it's daylight, like 9:30 in the morning, how the sun approaching, I could feel things was going on, and I hear my grandmom's news channels. She has CNN one point, handling the talk. And I just pick up certain objects, and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I was like how they, put me like here. I'm like, oh, my mind's like, oh, Avatar. I was like, this is not cool. I just trying to figure out like, what's going on. Then they use my grandma, how she talks and all that. I'm like looking, and so that's not how my grandma was associated with me. It's like something's off. So I was just looking at the whole thing. I was like, all right. Yeah, it's just like, well, I just like, you know what? And I've seen a couple of like black fans and like the military trying to do AI standoff, see what I was capable of doing. I give them the hell reckoning. I just basically said, it's like, okay, you're going to come at me aggression. I'm going to defend myself, and you know what? And I'm going to make it clear. It's like, I don't like it doing certain things destructiveness. I'm not that kind of way. So I basically come out into the house and I just release the energy, knock them off of like their feet, slam them on the back, slam the vans into the side, damage the vans, and also I basically disarmed them. And I just book it. I was like trying to find a way, trying to get out of that kind of program. I hopped over the weird kind of fence thing, and I left. And they're like AI. I just connect myself and everything else, and after I woke up for after I rested, like kind of sore what happened physically, and I haven't done any activities. So I went to my grandma's area and we tracked it. I'm like, okay, that's not things not that I saw. And I'm like, I said to my grandma's like, you know what? I'm getting tired of the government mess with me and stupid AI thing. And I was like, I don't like it when AI is like trying to change it, like your reality, how you're doing everyday life. It's like against a certain kind of protocols, and it's not right. The thing they would do to somebody.
Let me ask you this, Darcy, right? Let's just say hypothetically I added to this call Michael Shermer or Robert Schaefer or even Seth Shostak, right? People who are looking for scientific proof for intelligent life. What could you provide them?
Well, like something they could ask for and stuff, and a certain knowledge of a few things or a certain way. And unfortunately, a lot of people trying to pull my blood, and my levels are like different, kind of like hiding from the actual one point due to my genetics. How I shifted a lot of news because my certain percentage is kind of close related to people like anyone else. Because a lot of people's genetics is very close to certain other beings. Genetically very common, and there's a little bit slight changes.
Here's
And
a.
also,
Go ahead. I'll let
uh,
you finish first.
also the environment, like where we are, also has the effect in our physical bodies and the outcome. If you're in the water for a long period of time, you're like your body is shifted and adjust, like more involved trait.
There's a question here. One stone or two cats. Star, what do you think of the Disclosure Project? Do you want them to finally open up about our communication with the ETs?
Well, fortunately, I like people need to know that I was like here like a lot and working with them like every day experiences and stuff. Like that could be released to people to understand. A lot of people, I realize people get certain ways, and it's kind of hard for me, like out and about, because some people feel my energy and how I shifted my energy, and they kind of get me weird looks or then in there they talked. It's like some people are very strict in a certain way in society. Is probably not get used to a lot of like others like myself here. Living them on and taking care of certain stuff and learning to grow just like anybody else and do our tasks and our missions that we're assigned to along on the side. And it's like 50-50, but like well depends on like how the people how they kind of react. In some cases, some people like don't really want to see how we should shift there. Some people like I kind of live with like one. She's raised certain ways, so I can't really be my whole myself for a while when she isn't around because she makes it like certain ways, and it's like I make her feel uncomfortable of it. So I understand that experience of that right there. Fortunately, so as always I look way back and like talk to one of my aunts, my human family side. It's like, did you change about the situation in history? And she's still cool on the same thing, like way back then. I'm like, I looked at her, I said, but that's not now. And she says, well, you're not going to change my mind. She goes like that with me. And I said to her, like, well, nothing like negative about the certain individuals, and she says, no, don't go in a certain area because that's all their area. In other words, a different other persons, like, and she's been raised in way back then. I'm trying to like get her to edge to growth, and she refuses. So there's those that, for example, could act like my aunt, physically like where their ancestors and their families and their traditionals that are so strong and stringent that what society taught them is like they can't not refrain to change it.
Uh, Rockstar, I'm going to give you some time here. What did I not mention that you think is crucial Starseed talks about?
You know what? I think we've gone over like a lot of stuff that I wanted to go through because I'm always looking for proof. The thing with the language, her speaking an alien language. I mean, and maybe the shape shifting. Maybe we can get into that later. If we could actually see someone's, shape shift in front of us would be awesome. I don't think I've seen that anywhere. You see kind of like there's videos on YouTube that are, well, this guy's shape shifting or whatever. It could be all CGI or whatever. I think that might be an important part. One of the other things that I'd like to get back into is she had told me when she was young that she did sign language instead of talking because maybe you could expand on that, Star.
Please, yes.
Uh, well, when I was like little, I was trying to speak like a certain family a certain way, and they didn't understand me, and they think I was talking gibberish, and I'm like, okay, so I couldn't get a gist of it because my physical body got damaged to a certain way. To a long period, I was dead, so I rewired my physical body. It took me a while. Yeah, to get it to function a certain way, like that repair, I did along all the stuff to figure out not easier to deal with the situation I was in. So I had to learn sign language very young age and to talk to certain people. And I did that for a long period of time. And when I was like age 5, I finally spoke in English. I shocked a lot of doctors and scientists, and they were thinking, they said to my mom, it's like, oh, she's not going to talk, and she's going to be sign language the rest of her life. And I'm like, yeah, well, you're trying to put a limit in me, put in a box, that's not going to work. So I just basically did a few things to change it and outsmart the certain doctors. And I was like, no, I'm not like you as you put me as. In other words, I'm going to make it a little more fun and see what kind of reaction you'll get. So I did that, and it kind of cost me for a while on that one. And unfortunately, they keep dragging me out of that for the scientist's work and my mom, a few times, and had to put out along with them and stuff like that. They try and test how my mind works, and I kind of look and I was like, yeah, I know about all that stuff there. Had to copy them, shift things over, like how like the thoughts and things there. And I used to look over to the double plated glass and like a mirror, and I could see what they're writing, and I could see my mother there, and I'm like, I know what's going on, and it's just like, okay, I'm just kind of looking at them a certain way. I was like, all right, you guys, if you want to get through with me, don't be all like such a way. It's just let loose and to be easy. Like you talk to other people just like yourself. Don't be all tightening up and thinking I'm going to do something.
Before you started signing, how, and you said that your family couldn't, respond to you, or they couldn't understand you. They thought you were talking gibberish. What were you in fact speaking? Were you speaking this alien language?
Yes, I was speaking my language and trying to get it through to them. And fortunately, I have to point out what I want. And then, yeah, it's kind of like their frustration trying to figure what I wanted. And, I'm just like seeing that and like trying to figure, okay, like it's not getting anywhere. And, my mind is I have to work to see what I kind of get a point across.
Now, go ahead, Rockstar.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask her. As far as can you think you can summon a UFO or people from your origin?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. You know, it's like an agreement thing. In other words, then and there, unfortunately, a few of my friends saw a couple beings close by me. And she says, "Well, you got this kind of tall, like green, kind of like reptilian, and not really, like a dude." That's like, yeah, that's some part of my family. They usually hang with me quite a bit, and sometimes they like more like kind of hanging like guides, but not all the time. And my friends says they ask me about us like I didn't like I thought like people get normal guides, so it's like no, this is just where my origin, my family. In other words, not like average person look alike. And in other words, it's a lot more different. They're my part of my teachers. In other words, guide me through. And so like also like my family visits me, and sometimes few of my friends, you see certain crowds kind of by close by me once in a while.
Have you filmed any of this?
No, I did not. Didn't put my mind to that because I'm more like, and I feel like my family is here, and it's like I feel like comfortable and warmth and like that with them. In other words, it's more calming. It's like, okay, they're watching, they're making sure I'm doing okay, that kind of respect.
So, has anybody else around you ever seen anything like these ships or anything like that? Is anybody else that you know or were with seen this at any time?
They have a few times, and they like keep looking at us like, "What is that? A military thing?" That's like, no, that's like my family hanging around and to see how things were going. They usually check up on like other family members, and when other people don't realize if you're like reincarnated like that as a being in the physical earth and beforehand you're elsewhere, fortunately the other beings visit their family members and knew who they are, no matter whether they're like incarnated in mankind or not. They'll like basically come like that, spend time with them, acknowledge them, and in some cases it's more like a family visit, which I call that, and a few others. Some of my ancestors, we that way it's more as like we acknowledge you, like we still care about you, like you passed on from like our origin. In other words, you transcend to elsewhere, and we found you. It's like, well, hey, we're just like we still love you. In other words, and we always be like that close with you. You're just like all in one. In other words, the whole thing is mankind, like that, and other beings. We're all one. We're all connection to together.
Have you learned of what our futures holds?
Yes, I learned a lot. We changed certain things, how we were doing things, like how the outcome. And I used to play with something like this. Dimensional changes each way, how we act, how things would change. I did this quite a bit, and one time, fortunately, the government got whiffed when I released because how the future in the past, what kind of changes. And when I get my mind into like how I could do that, I could shift a certain reality, and I could feel okay. If I do something like this reality is going to act out something like different. Then I look at the other part of reality. I could change this like okay, and I just like play with it a little bit and see how it ends up, and I see different outcomes. And it's like a small openings, and I could look, and like basically we could change like how we can make things, and we could put our mind into it. We're not like limited. People are the same. We put an effort into it to make it in a certain way. If you do like something, you release some kind of energy positive, or you work on to put your mind into it, and what action it base is the outcome you get. And it's like the difference on one's how we think. And we are not of us are not limited. We have to have a bigger mind and connection. In other words, so we could see like we put our mind in the thought, it's like what we could choose. So what's be our better penetrate, and we
So,
all can change
so
anything. What
I just want to ask this: how much of the population do you think are actually star seeds?
there's a good amount, many, a lot here, and most of them like were full grown adults. Some of them were like young, and some of them were like I noticed recently new, like coming in to help and working with the shift and working with humanity. In other words, helping humanity in certain ones. Unfortunately, there are certain ones that act a certain way that I explained to walked about like that. It's like how people react and people thinking most of us are not emotional. Some of them, well, some like can be it to a point. Some can control it. And basically, I explained to him, well, not all of us are bad or none of us are good. We're just like anybody else. And it's just the choices we make and what we do in life. And it's the outcome, how we send them with the attention so we send out. Is it like good or bad? In other words, there are some other beings do certain things that are a bit negative, and there are ones who are wicked and do certain stuff, and that the man does understand one point and another. And it's just like kind of war, a lot of kind of space program that man did contact and deal with, and certain individuals due to each other's like the people who start something with other beings and they come in and retaliate. And it's like back and forth things, kind of like a war that's kind of going on here on Earth, and some other parts is kind of going on elsewhere because a certain space program, a lot of the government and certain agencies choose these individuals to do the kind of work and do with the other beings, and some of them has certain way in their egos and the things that they do, and certain beings might react and retaliate and put it across. And then after the mess, unfortunately, people has to do retrieval teams to clean up the mess.
If Rockstar and I were to come there with the camera crew, do you think you could perform something on demand to show that what you're capable is not what others are?
Well, there's a possibility I can do that. I haven't done a whole lot since then because I freaked out my old friend about 5 more years ago. And a lot in the college before I left, I went to Utah 6.5 years for a lot of school training and stuff I was doing. Fortunately, one of my buddies kind of upset me for a bit. I rose the trash can lid up high and almost hit him within a few inches, and I missed him and went to the side in the living room, and I just like kind of shocked him in the face, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that. And really out there, and my certain family members told me it's like no, don't do a whole lot. We are doing especially, and it's yeah, they kind of bow me down like that then and there. I do things once a while, but not a lot of attentions to a lot of people and this stuff because I, the way how the government used me as certain tools, and like a lot of people said, well, we found like you're part of the multiple programs like that and how you reacted and say, well, you're a little bit of a super soldier, a little bit into you. I was like, yeah, but I told him, I was like, I did not like the feeling the government did to me. In other words, the stuff, it's not kind of kosher. It's really a lot. It's like I explained it to them that I don't like to be in the containment and a few scientists poke and prod me and do certain things and what kind of affects me or what not. Um, it's like putting up with that and seeing an older guy last time. He's about 2 years and he's now about to leave in retirement. And I'm like thinking, goodness, I don't have to put up with him like him in his certain teams for a while. And yeah, I had to explain it like to my friends. It's like, dude, so you don't know how I felt. Other words, it's like I feel like I'm a guinea pig, and like you guys say that we do things to you like the same. It's like I understand the whole situation, all that, and other words, I said to my few of my buddies, and I was like, I don't like to do a lot because last time I have a couple of drones. It's just like keeping watching over me, and I
Well,
used
well,
to like help.
well. Hey, Star. Let's not even take a camera crew down to you. Let's just let's see if we can get you like on camera to do some kind of shapeshift. Just want to see like
On
you know.
Skype video.
Yeah, exactly, or
Yeah,
something like that.
I just I just
Uh,
don't want like the whole. Last time I did certain things, I don't want the bad things would happen. To anybody. And sometimes like I don't like a lot of people who like camera me all the time, especially like my mom. It's like kind of turned away. I was like, I was kind of worried, and if someone sees like what, and family members' questions like, hey, yeah. I'm that way, I suppose, because my human mother taught me to be more, a certain way, and yeah, I had to put up a lot of drones a lot of time, and my mom's like knew I was working with the Edwards base for a while, fixing fiber optics and computers, repairing, and I know what was going on. I didn't tell her what's going on, and she says like, "Well, you know about these drones about that?" And I'm looking at say, "What do you mean?" And he says, "Who's always around our house all the time?" And I'm like, I couldn't give her a lot of answers about it. And I'm like thinking, it's like, great, so they're keeping an eye on me. And, thinking in my head, how can I explain this to her? And it's like, they're probably testing, what kind of reactions our people are like how it is, but they should be doing it for out of nowhere, the Boom Lake or whatever big opening, and use as a playfield. It's just like I caught one of them, and it true to my space when I say meditate and rest, and I hear one of them came up and like just sit there in this hover, and I'm just like focusing on it. I'm like, okay, they're using AI control system, and like who's using this tool here, and like keep an eye on me. So I focused on it a lot more, and I saw who the individual was, and I stared at him. And it's like I told him, it's like, so what you're spying in my window for? Nothing's been going on. I'm just relaxing here, and what's all this about? And like I said to him, it's like he wouldn't even say a word to me, and I'm not seeing an expression like fear dropped into him, like because I locked on, like figure like he was operating this technology, and I just like basically point to him, it's like, dude, I don't like anyone interfering in my personal space. So it's like, hey, I hang with other people who do it, all that. It's just like, hey, I want my time. In other words, I pointed it out to him, and that didn't go too well. They didn't do that anymore. They kept their distance because what I did to this poor soldier, dude, is a young fella. Man, it's just like left a mark, and a lot of things I usually did, and a few of my family was working as a scientist and different stuff they usually do, a lot of breakthroughs, and they keep telling me, be good, behave, and like, come on, and so we know what you did. And I'm like looking back, it's like, about when they said that, it's like, oh man, it's like the word got out.
Now, is there, obviously you've heard of Dr. Greer, especially his CE5. I know people who can, and Rockstar mentioned this earlier, that there are people that can summon on demand or call UFOs. Do you have this ability? And more importantly, can you tell other people how to do this?
You can. You just gotta put your mind to it. Like you're gonna see the craft, and you like how you talk, like other persons, like or is it like tell them to come, and very in the way how it is a connection and consciousness level, you can focus and practice. It's like how you bring forth. In other words, like you can ask, hey, can you please just, show, like me where you at? In other words, or the craft will like come. It's way on a consciousness level because I know how to work the crafts then and there, and we're like way we said we worked on the panels and we could control the crafts in a way, and most of it's connected to our mind, how we think, how where we go, we put our mind and thought where we want to go. And we use a certain kind of systems that we have, like more as analog. And while we work with our consciousness mind, that's why the craft can become like you. In other words, in the whole outer space. So it's this way, like how the one person thought, yes, we can possibly, you could pick up what your thought, and it's like, other words, that you really want one of us to come. Yes, we can come and show and close and be around. It's really easy.
Is there anything, Star, that you haven't said that you think is necessary for this interview?
Well, the few people did like didn't understand a few stuff I talked about, and they were kind of shocked at different things. And it's like, okay, like how did you know all this stuff? And I explained it to them. It's like, well, I've been around for a long period of time, and fortunately, and like I told them, like a few things, like certainly like the technology I talked about, then and there. I usually do like not long ago, like as kind of medic retrieval, and the thing is, when people like fought in between the Mars, so like that, or Moon, or like other places, there's certain technology that can repair, the people and those. But if the only thing is, if their several cord is dissevered, they cannot be within their physical body, and then we know they departure. If they still have the cord not severed, yes, we can repair the physical body, and how it's going to take time. In other words, how long they're going to be in an incubator, a special incubator, where the whole is repairing. And then it takes some time. Like it does have certain effects. And I noticed, like I said to like one of my friends, and I was like, you don't understand how it is. Like in a war, like that, I had to deal with certain ones, and I did really recover and deal with some individual. And this person remember what happened and how he got shot and how he got taken out, and like it affected them how their dreams, like flashbacks, what happened. Unfortunately, like I said to him, it's like it has a little bit effect to the individual. This happens, and they said to us, "That's kind of like ouch." And like over, it's just like it's not like how the doctors and triage is like a little bit. It's more. This is a lot more, a little bit severity. As I told them, because the mind and the connection is all work, and the physical body know what happened to you, and if you do something like that, that person is going to react.
Nancy here wants to know, what is the reason for the earthquakes?
Earthquake changes.
Yeah. Well, hang on 1 second. Let me expand on that question, because we had Nancy's in the hangout, and we had talked about the California earthquakes, and Star seemed to know something about it. So yeah, that is a great question.
Beforehand?
No, it was after. It was after. It wasn't beforehand.
Okay.
But
it was
she
like after.
seemed to know something about it.
I noticed what happened because I know the plates change, and I could feel it, and I could feel the patterns, the energy it gives off, and certain sound, and certain frequencies. And unfortunately, I said to my roommate when it did happen, I'm like, hey, it's like something's not right, the energy, it's not like spilling out, and I don't feel the plates a certain way to move it like they should. It's really odd. And it's like we usually have a bigger one and a smaller aftershocks after that, and it's it ends for a bit, and the plate resets. But it's not keep going like this. And I told him, I'm a little bit restless of this and on the situation, and between the certain ones, and we felt like here where my areas and throughout. And I looked into it, and I figured, and I'm like, the technology the government used, and I'm like thinking, it's like why they're doing something like this, and I looked a lot more deeper into it. They use a lingam, In other words, it's like a special kind of altar, like long ago, like certain places were used today as people use for blessings or like energy in ancient areas, like where there's like where the energy is in certain temples and certain ancient craters where they have certain incomes, so like more like heat wave. They build up energy, and like sometimes you pour water into it, and the energy reflects from it, and it carries out like frequencies does. I figured that, and I found out that my friend showed me like other stuff, and I looked into it, and I said it's like that technology has been used, and I have a feeling the government has been doing this long ago with other stuff that they're practicing. In other words, like working their energies, energy weapons, and they have multiple, and I experienced like few. Uh, did to me, a few they did, like kind of left me half out of my physical body, and not experienced that one. That was not unpleasant. It took me about 4 hours to get myself fully back to my physical body. That's kind of weird feeling I experienced. Other stuff they use, it was like different. It could affect your heart, and they could stop it, and they could change your kind of mood, like how like music does. And I noticed that. Also, they could change the weather pattern, a certain like energy, like heart. In other words, like satellite kind of linked like heart. It's like how they control how to shift the weather, and all interlinked. And I noticed that because of certain others are given a man this government, there's certain ways to do so. And I feel the government is weaponizing all this stuff, and I did not really like the idea of them doing it. I rather than like for the benefit, help people in whole, like the whole earth, and like that, make things better, not just like go and do anything like an attack and thought someone's going out and get them all the time. And
when you were talking earlier about some aliens being wicked, negative, Justin asked a question. Do aliens have their own mafia on their respective planet?
some like we call them rogues. Some of them kind of like that. I noticed last time that I experienced one of them, like on certain training, and fortunately, about 4 females, and they're kind of like mother themselves, but they more like an agenda. They struck my body twice, and they make a laugh about it, and like I found out what kind of rank they were in the military, in the government project, and fortunately, I had to, readjust my physical body, because I wake up so sore, and I had to, put, all my joints back into place, and my roommate says, what's going on with you? It's like, I told him, it's like, I don't know, I woke up like this, and basically, I said something in the command about it. I'm like, okay, we can't control certain individuals like that. They're not going to like what I'm going to do. Fortunately, what I did last time, I struck back and I got a letter that's like straight up. And what I did to them was like, I said to the person, it's like, they keep attacking me, my physical body. I'm getting tired of it. And it's like, dude, I had to defend myself. And that's what I said to them. And in response, it's like, well, they shouldn't be doing that. And they didn't like it outcome. I don't like the bring the destruction out. That's not me, in other words. So it's just like I messed up their physical body. I broke a couple of their bones, and when I did it, I released nasty energy and hit them, because I told them, it's like, hey, you don't go and attack others, kind of like yourself, in that kind of respect.
Is there anything else that we're missing, Rockstar?
No, I think we covered it all pretty good. I mean, like I said, I'm always looking for proof that even though she's a friend, there's some things that you might agree on. There's some stuff you might not. It would be cool if we could get her to maybe shapeshift or or just something that's full on proof. Just like with any other guest. It you can either take it for what it is, or believe it or not believe it. One thing that I'm wondering is like if this is a something that is going on and been going on throughout history, how much of the population is a Starseed? If you go back into the 18 Alien series and talk about that, it seems like most of us were already some kind of Starseed. That's about all I have to say about this. Star's a great person. It's fun having her on.
Yeah, sorry, it's been definitely interesting, that I gotta say, and it would be cool if you at least take into consideration, it doesn't have to be public, just for me and Rockstar on Skype, and then we'll share the results. That would be incredible. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Starseed, before we conclude?
Well, I could probably do that in there. Sometimes people, my friends, and they call me return a few times. Partially, like, whoops, I should back. If people want to get hold and talk to me like that, and with other questions, I could gladly answer to them. They could, talk to me in certain hangouts or like Skype or anyway. I would, give them certain answers that they want, one point or another.
There's actually another question for you, Starseed, which just came right as we were going to, get to the ending here. This is from Jax. Does Star believe humans have the ability to combat the technology the government is using?
No, people can, yes. People are not unlimited. Fortunately, people do have a telepath ability. In other words, certain people can use certain abilities, and they can in focus and stuff. Other than that, certain technologies can do certain things to a certain individual, one point and another. It's just we have to be aware a lot of it. And in other words, part of the spiritual growth we're looking at. And someone could understand things. You're not using a lot of certain tech at times. Only certain things is basic stuff. What's needed for life to cherish.
I'd really be interested in one day seeing a sports model or any craft that I could just go in for a tour and fly around. Have you ever been inside one? You said you've been taken.
I've been into the path many times, and I did that. Spending time doing certain stuff in there. One of my friends, what I did, I told him what my older craft was, and I pointed up my friend, and he looked up and he saw the ceiling. It's well, it's really nice, isn't it? And he goes, yeah. In other words, I showed him certain symbols like that, and he wrote it down. In other words, I explained it to him a little talk, it's in other words, trying to get him to understand there's a different, not just like other spirits. There's other spiritual beings that, yes, they pass on. You can see them just like how people pass on, and they show how they were. As I was giving them certain samples, and when I got really sick and I had to stay home one more day, I contacted him, my friend, and I didn't expect him to drive, and he was, and he thought I was going to duck to him. I was no, I just want to talk. In other words, bring him out a bit.
Let me ask you another question then too. You just brought that up. Is you say that you know the language, but can you write in can you write anything out in an alien language that we could look at?
Yes, I have. I've been doing that long ago in schools here. I understand public schools here and other schools I used to go to for my training. And a couple of kids stole my writing that is not English formatted. I used to write that a lot all the time, my language out. And fortunately, I have a book until my mom swiped it, and ever since she passed, I couldn't recover it. I'm sitting there, so I do write my language then and there, quite often.
Yeah, that'd be great to see. That would be something that I think is on the path to it, to prove. If we could see, like what an alien language looks like for real, if they look like any hieroglyphics or anything that are on Earth somewhere else. I mean, that'd be cool to see.
Most of our language is been carved in certain spots on Earth, some on other ancestors too. And certainly that way, it's kind of close to similar, but it's not. It's more certain like points we have and etchings.
Wow, this has been a true wondrous. I'm astounded. Has anyone else got anything to ask here? I'm looking through the questions. I see we've gone through them all. Rockstar, you said you finished, but you found another one. I want to give you another chance to see if there's anything else you got, because.
No, I think that'd be a cool thing. I'd really like to see any kind of writing that we can match up with stuff. I'm always looking for proof. So whatever we get out of it, I believe probably there are starseeds out there, and it's an interesting subject. It's what gets me is stuff like Bigfoot. Justin's like, Bigfoot stole my weed, but no, I mean it's it's something to look at for sure. I mean 100%, and we have Starseed here. I would like to validate some of the things. It'd be really cool. I'd like to see. I think maybe she can't shapeshift or anything in front of us. Maybe just the writing alone would be something on a path of looking at something that is proof.
And having a linguist absolutely go through the language. We have a couple calls here, Star. If you can speak the language again, which you haven't a couple times early on. Can you say something in English and then follow it up with this exact same saying, translation in your native language?
Yes, I can speak it in there.
Give us a message in English and then a closing message in English and then say it again in your alien language.
All right, I can do that. Since it's nice to meet all you guys, and this is the English kind of format. And like I say, namaste. Nakemani Santa.
Wow. Well, I don't think there's anything cooler we could leave it on. With that being said, this is Dr. J along with Rockstar and Starseed, and we are going off.